Chris Broussard now joins us live. But I do think the NBA has changed, Chris, is that you and I grew up with a much more, I mean, Bird and Dr. J once got into a fist fight. Jeff Van Gundy, there was a brawl on the court, and he's crawling underneath players. The league is different now. It's more international. It's everybody's getting paid. I like this series, but I do understand those who say there's not a lot of drama with it. Your thoughts?
Yeah, look, it does lack the buzz of previous series, and that's just the fact that they don't have superstar-driven rosters. Obviously, SGA is a superstar, but he's young, and he's not particularly outspoken or charismatic. He's a good personality. He seems like a great guy, and he's not shy. He's kind of like Tim Duncan, though. I mean, he's, a little more outgoing, more color to him than Tim Duncan, but he is not a captivating personality, at least not yet. And it's the same thing on the other end with the Pacers. Both of these teams, like you said, they play team basketball. They're not led by one or two, superstars and generational talents, and that's why you lack it. And also the games themselves. Like game one was dull until the end because OKC led by about 10, right, for the whole game. And then last night they lead by 15-20 for the whole game. So they haven't been the greatest games either. I'll say this, and you may get to SGA, Colin, because he's obviously phenomenal. If he played like Anthony Edwards or Ja Morant, I mean the high-flying, flashy type game, he would be an absolute superstar. I mean, beyond what he is now. Like, he wouldn't be as good as Jordan, but people would be comparing him to Michael Jordan. He would be viewed as, okay, now we see the next Michael Jordan if he had that game and the same exact stats and everything else. But because he's not high-flying like that, it's kind of like, oh, he's great. Like I said, Tim Duncan of this generation.
Yeah, I've argued this for years, Brew, is that most of the stars in my life, Kareem wasn't dynamic, Duncan wasn't dynamic. There's only been a handful of guys. Michael was crazy. Dr. J was wild. Magic was flashy. But a majority of stars, Steph is unique. But I would argue the league's history is closer to SGA. I mean, go back to the 70s. The only player that jumps out as wildly dynamic was Dr. J. It was a lot of really, Bill Waltons, Rick Barry's, it was a lot of really good players, but not wildly dynamic.
Elvin Hayes, right.
That's right. Elvin Hayes, exactly. But when I look right now at the NBA, I don't know if it's a problem, but I think the game is more skilled. I think it's smarter, but Jokic, SGA, Tatum, Jaylen Brown, even Giannis hasn't developed a jumper. I think as we've asked our players to be more skilled and the coaching is better, we're a little bit less reliant. I think the play like Halliburton and SGA are all angle guys. They're all playing their bodies. They're playing angles. They're playing math. I love it. But I just think the game has changed, and to appreciate it, it's not as high-flying as it used to be.
Yeah, I used to say, and this was maybe 15 years or so after Michael Jordan, the game, the people that ran the game, front offices, scouts, were focused on hyper-athleticism. So you saw guys, Stromile Swift and some others, get drafted, Chris Wilcox, who really weren't very skilled, but they had crazy athleticism, jump out the gym and quick and fast. And now I have always said, Steph, James Harden, some of these guys who aren't uber athletic but are sensational players, they brought the game back to fundamentals and skills. If you have the requisite required level of athleticism and you're skilled, you can be great. And going back, Oscar Robertson, relatively, he wasn't a high flyer. He wasn't ultra fast, but he was fundamentally sound and obviously phenomenal. Magic and Bird. Now, they were flashy passers, but they weren't what you call super athletes, right? No. Relatively speaking, and yet they were so great. So you're right in that this era has gotten back to more fundamentals. I also wonder, look, if I was in a different country and I'm learning, I might not be as comfortable, like English, the language wouldn't be my first language. I might not be as charismatic as I might be in my home country.
Right.
And I don't know if does that, right? You're still getting adjusted to the culture and things. And Giannis obviously has some personality stuff, but you're not at home. So does that, impact, guys, I don't know, being themselves or being as colorful as they might be if they were speaking in their, native language and their first language and things like that? Just something, you wonder about, because obviously, so even SGA is from Canada. Now, obviously, he speaks English his first language, but it's still, he's from a different country than America and didn't grow up in the American culture, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I was just overseas, and I say this all the time. I tip better, I'm quieter, I'm more gracious, I'm more aware of I'm more mindful when I'm overseas because I feel like I'm a visitor. Even if I'm over there for 7, 8, 9 days, I'm always a visitor. I want to be a good American. So I do think there's something to be said as I think the game is more skilled, it's more mindful, but there aren't as many dynamic players. I want to ask you about the Knicks. So my take is when James Dolan was building the Sphere, he was sort of distracted. And it became a very good basketball front office. You had Leon Rose, you have Tibbs, you have Worldwide West, and it's just basketball guys, basketball addicted. And they built a hell of a culture. And I kind of feel like Dolan's always been, he's an artist. He's always been an artist. There's nothing wrong with it. That's why that's why the Sphere is it's his musical North Star. It's his greatest achievement, not Cablevision, not the Knicks. It's actually, when he left, they had back-to-back 50-win seasons. But if you look at Dolan's history, Isaiah, Phil Jackson, Carmelo, Amari Stoudemire, he likes stars. Could I argue that Tibbs was just never his kind of guy? Gruff, a grinder, grumpy, and that's not what Dolan wants. He loves stars. He loves entertainment and music.
No, look, Lenny Wilkins, Isaiah Thomas. I mean, big names. He wants them, right? And look, if the reports are true, and I'm sure they are true, that they're looking at Ime Udoka, right? Chris Finch now from the Timberwolves, Jason Kidd, obviously from the Mavericks. It appears, if that's the case, and look, Leon Rose does not talk to the media on or off the record. So I think he's certainly got some things planned that people may not know about. But if they actually fired Thibodeau and your plan was, we're going to go get Jason Kidd, we're going to go get Ime Udoka, like, how are you going to, surefire get a coach from another team? Hopefully that was not their plan A, because that is ridiculous if that were the case. And if Dolan and I know there are reports are that Dolan, is involved in this. Oh, yeah. That is not a good look, because you're absolutely right. Like, if Leon Rose was doing a great job, and I don't mind them moving on from Tibbs. I would not have done it at this point, but I think, it could work, and there's rationale behind it, but you got to get the right guy, and the right guy might not be the biggest name out there. I like a Johnny Bryant, who was an assistant with the Cavs this year, 4 years as an assistant with the Knicks under Tibbs. He could bring that Kenny Atkinson kind of system to the Knicks and get more guys involved, not just a 1- and 2-man show. We'll see if they do that. He's not a big name. And if Dolan's looking for a big name, they probably wouldn't go that route. But Dolan should not be involved at all in this decision, Colin. And if he is, this could backfire on the Knicks, because Tibbs, like him or not, he's a great coach, had a great season, and there's no guarantee. We don't know for a fact he wouldn't have got them to the finals next year. So this could backfire if Dolan's running it.
Yeah, I mean, my take is he built the culture. The issues with the Knicks were personnel issues, that Brunson's not a good defender, either is Cat. The league has always been a baby step league, and they're one step away. That may be a KD step. It was a personnel issue. It wasn't a coaching issue. Chris Broussard, co-host First Things First, buddy. I appreciate you stopping by, Brew.
All right, Colin. See you.